Our taste in film may seem destructive, but this is a productive dialogue. Damn it, your mother ate my dog.
Now recording.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, listeners. Welcome to Your Mother Ate My Dog, the podcast, episode 33. Before the show, we were talking a little bit about Christmas, and 33 is a big number in the Christian community. So it's nice to get to this point.
Yes, absolutely.
Because Jesus, he was 33.
Oh, I thought he took 33 steps on the water when he was walking on it.
No, he was 33 years old. This week, it's Halloween. It's Halloween week. Special Halloween edition of the podcast. You're Jesse. I'm Josh. This week's movie, Interview with a Vampire. 1994.
Interview with the Vampire.
Is it the? Oh,
yeah,
it is the interview.
It's
with
one of those
vampire.
it's one of those like Mandela effects. I could have sworn it was interview with and it just sounds weird saying it with the.
I didn't really want to start to get into the movie right away, but interview with the vampire is that's Brad Pitt saying like, I'm the vampire. I'm not just the vampire.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly there are other vampires out there, as we'll talk about when we get into the movie. But before then, happy Halloween.
Spooky.
I have one special little Halloween news of the week for you.
Oh.
This is going to be... I wasn't just joking around when I said this is a Halloween-themed episode. I got a few Halloween things.
Okay.
Actually, just Halloween news and then Halloween trivia at the end of the episode, depending on how this goes.
I love it.
So pretty crazy. I don't know if you heard about this. I don't know if you pay attention to much news coming out of Minnesota these days. But a 2,560-pound pumpkin was crowned the winner of this year's Way Off. Pumpkin Way Off in Minnesota. 2,560-pound pumpkin.
That's a lot of pumpkin.
It's not a world record. The world record was set in 2021 in Italy by a 2,703-pound pumpkin.
Pretty close, though.
So pumpkins are getting heavier. Did you carve a pumpkin this year?
No. Did you?
No. Did you? Are you a big carver? This is like the first year I didn't carve a pumpkin in a long time.
I don't recall the last time I carved a pumpkin. It's not really my thing.
Well, there's still a few days before the big day, so
True.
So I'm sure you can head out to your local grocery store and pick up a discounted pumpkin.
Yeah. I probably won't, but
I spend a lot of time outside, going door to door. I do Halloween basically every day, except I don't get candy out of it. I don't get anything out of it really. But there are a lot of people who who've had their Halloween decorations up very early, like 3 weeks early.
Mm-hmm.
And that also includes carving their pumpkins. So pumpkins this week looked very sad, very moldy, very caved in.
How many pumpkins do you think you see a day?
I'm gonna say a conservative estimate at 30 pumpkins.
30? That's not bad.
Conservative.
You say you work outside a lot. And the other day I was driving and I looked over and I saw my co-host in the flesh, just walking.
Yeah,
delivering.
Tuesday, Hillside. I was right outside of. I'm gonna say right outside of 1510 Hillside Avenue.
Yeah, by Aberdeen, I think.
Yeah, just a little bit past Aberdeen. You were heading towards Aberdeen to take care of your sick relative, which is very admirable.
Yeah.
This week, that's a part of my route. We'll talk work over your cat's pooping.
Yeah. We'll take a quick cat poop break.
Yeah, I go into Aberdeen every day. This week I'm in that area, so it's kind of nice. Next week, who knows? But yeah, nice to see
keep
you
you on your toes.
and your friend. I see you and your friend. Like, what are the odds? What the amount of stuff that has to go right in our day for that to line up?
Yeah. Well, every time now that I see a Canada Post truck or anyone who's, got the reflective vest on in the pouch, I'm like, is that Josh? And this time it finally was. I've seen you twice now. But
Yeah, you saw me
this
on my
time,
very first day, and then
yeah,
one of my last
it's
days.
kind of like where we live is sort of like a deceptively small city.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
But every time I go in that area now, it's around the same time every day, and I'm like, oh, am I gonna see somebody I know named Jesse?
Yeah.
But I don't. So
I don't usually go down that road. So that was like a sort of an unlikely occurrence.
pretty crazy. Another crazy thing is how many
Vampires?
followers you have.
Oh. Yeah.
So we do a segment every week, every episode, every podcast, where we pick a follower of the week. This week, because it's a Halloween themed, I picked kind of like a spooky Halloween themed
Follower.
name. Yeah, follower.
Okay.
This week, Cemetery Bros is the name. They just go by Bones, an aspiring filmmaker and photographer, and a host of the Bones and Brews podcast. Bones and Brews. I don't know. I'm gonna guess that they have a podcast about beer, which is the brews part,
Yeah.
and dead people. Bones.
That's a good combination.
I haven't looked too far into it. They have a lot of pictures about stuff.
They have a lot of pictures about stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm just clicking on stuff. Maybe we didn't even. Yeah, it's.
Are you looking at
did
Instagram on your computer?
Yeah, I have it up on the computer today.
That's not even something I've considered was possible.
My phone is a little unoccupied at the moment. So yeah, Instagram on the computer. They did have a lot of DVDs. They had a stack of DVDs that they took a picture, put it on Instagram, and then you liked it. One of the DVDs is called Jesus, I Was Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Followed by Poltergeist, followed by Trailer Park Double Wide Trilogy of Terror. So a lot of different cool things here.
Yes, that's a nice variety.
Anyways, our follower of the week, Cemetery Bros. Shout out to their podcast. I'm sure it's delightful.
And sort of similar to Yo-Yo Crazy Bones. Bros and Bones.
Yep. Similar
sort of
words.
Cadence in a way.
So those are my segments. Anything you want to add before we dig deep into the movie of the week?
I can't say that I do. We've already covered the cat pooping segment. Sort of like went on, as it usually does, during another segment. So I think we got that one sort of on lock. So I think I'm ready just for a little bit of vampire. What about you?
That sounds good. Yeah, Interview with the Vampire, 1994. This was your movie pick.
Yes.
How did you like it?
Well, I think it was a good choice. When I picked it, I knew it was like somewhat horror related because vampires and all that. And then when I actually did a little bit of searching on this about this movie online, and then I was reading that it was more of like a drama and not so much horror, and then I was getting a little worried. But then it delivered in the ways that I wanted it to in terms of levels of horror and gore. I mean, it's not super gory, but
Somebody was
It
cutting in
delivered.
half.
Yeah, that is true. there was a scythe and some cutting involved. So I guess there was a decent amount of gore. So it delivered in that sense. I was a little worried, but I was relieved of that worry for sure. What about you? Overall experience?
Okay, so we pick movies every week. I pick a movie that I like, and then you don't like my movie, and then you pick a movie that you like, and then I don't like your movie.
Right.
This movie was fine.
Okay.
It had a lot of potential, and I don't know if it followed through, regardless of people being cut in half.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we can talk about that more, as I'm sure we will.
I'm sure we will. There was. Let me start with something I didn't like. I mean, wasn't a perfect movie. That's for sure. There was two like main things I was thinking about that were bringing the score down for me. And one I'll touch upon now is, you remember when we watched Sleepy Hollow
Yes.
and the main villain, if you will, played by Christopher Walken. For me, that experience of him being in that film, it felt like he didn't belong. It was like, I don't know, it just didn't work as for him as a villain. I was just like, that's Christopher Walken looking stupid. That's not the villain. And that sort of same thing happened for me in this movie. Who do you think I'm thinking of that didn't really fit?
Well, you're obviously talking about Tom Cruise,
Yes, I am.
which, yeah, I totally understand, and I agree with. In 2022, this is a weird movie. I
Yeah.
can only imagine, like, 94, I guess it would have been more, like, this would have been more normal. Tom Cruise was still, like, a big star in 94, but he wasn't, like,
Yeah.
as big as he is now. Anne Rice, the author of the original novel that this was based off of, did not want Tom Cruise anywhere near this movie, and there were a few actors she wanted, and a few actors who were gonna play Lestat, and then fell out for whatever reason. The IMDb page has a lot of good trivia nuggets that I'm very excited to get to towards the end. But then Tom Cruise got the part, got paid a silly amount of money in '94 to play it, and then Anne Rice loved his performance,
Oh,
changed her tune on it.
okay.
So maybe, I mean, this movie is like universally loved. Like it has the Rotten Tomato score isn't great,
Yeah.
but it's a lot of positive reviews. At the time, it was nominated for and won a lot of awards.
Yeah. It
So,
was
in seeing this in '94 versus seeing this in 2022 is two different experiences, I feel.
right. It's hard to put ourselves back at that time when it came out. But yeah, for me now, Tom Cruise in that role, it just didn't work. I think he does action pretty well. I love the Mission Impossible movies, and I like some of his acting. I mean, I haven't seen all of his roles, but like A Few Good Men, he was good in that. But yeah, I don't know. This just seems like a strange choice for him in this film, and it just for me it didn't work. I was just like, that's just Tom Cruise, and he's like, his accent was really weird. It was kind of like going in and out of like actually doing an accent and not. And yeah, he was like a very obvious flaw for me, and I couldn't stop thinking about how he didn't really fit in.
The worst thing that I did, we talked about this last episode, was I recently watched What We Do in the Shadows, the 2014 vampire movie,
Yeah.
which was a mockumentary, a farce. So this movie at times it came across like that. Like it didn't seem like a serious movie. Like
Okay.
the Tom Cruise's performance very over the top for me.
Mhm.
It just seemed like he was parodying the vampire genre, bad guy.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was a serious performance. So that I think maybe took it out for me a little bit.
Yeah, a part of that part of the film that also like did that for me too was the prosthetics of their teeth was like a was a too it was like overblown, and it was like really obvious, and like almost to the point where like if a comedy about vampires were to be made, their teeth would look like that, like very protruding, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a little distracting.
That's what vampires look like.
Yeah, I did find that Brad Pitt suited being a vampire a little better. I liked his performance quite a bit, actually. That was me. That's me personally. I don't know. What do you think?
The best actor in this film was not either of those two.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Did you think it was Kirsten Dunst?
For a 12-year-old, like 11 or whatever, when the film, and like she hadn't really been in too many movies. Like this was the big one.
Yeah.
I thought this like she had the best performance.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I actually do agree with that.
I didn't really like Brad Pitt in this too much.
That's fair. That's fair. One of my notes here, which was like a big thing for me, is like most of the time when there's like a child actor in a film, it tends to like take away from it in most circumstances. But in this film, I found when she came into the plot, the film started getting better.
Yes.
What do you think? Yeah, you think so too?
I agree. She was nominated for, I think it was a Golden Globe.
Okay.
Best Supporting Actress for this. She didn't win. But, I mean, Golden Globe's a big deal. At the MTV Movie Awards, this is 94, 95, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and Christian Slater were all up for Most Desirable Male.
Oh.
Brad Pitt won. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt were up for Best On-Screen Team. Let's just say they did not win. But Kirsten Dunst won Best Breakthrough Performance, and Brad Pitt won Best Male Performance. So, like, I don't know what kind of movie I was watching, but I feel like Brad Pitt let me down a little bit. Maybe I have too many expectations for him.
I pretty quickly got myself in the headspace that this movie wasn't taking itself too seriously, but acknowledging that Tom Cruise was like trying to make it serious. Like I just felt like that's what another reason that he was a problem for me. It's like he was like kind of overdoing it, and not in a way where it's like self-aware. It was like he's really trying to put himself into this role, and it just didn't work. Whereas other characters like Antonio Banderas, Kirsten Dunst, Brad Pitt, like I think they just knew how to approach the role a little better. Like it was supposed to be a fun movie, and I think they you could tell that they were having fun with it. Tom Cruise, I thought, was just kind of like taking it a little too serious.
I do get where you're coming from, and I can agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was some really good. I found there was a nice mix of humor in the movie. Like there wasn't a ton of it. You know, it's not a particularly happy movie. But the parts that were funny, like I genuinely thought were funny. They weren't eye rolling or anything like that. I'm thinking of the scene where Kirsten Dunst is like learning piano, and then she, kills the piano instructor. And then I guess Tom Cruise, Lestat, he comes like to sit down. He's like, okay, move over, and she like shoves the piano instructor, and he just flops to the ground. It was like that scene was really well done and very funny. And then another scene I thought that was like dark, definitely dark comedy, is when Brad Pitt first comes into contact with Claudia. Is that Kirsten Dunst's character's name? Claudia?
Yep.
Yeah. And her mother, like, the shot shows her mother, who's clearly dead and had like got the plague. And then Tom Cruise all of a sudden shows up and starts dancing with her dead mom. And I don't know, it felt like definitely out of place and sort of like strange timing, but I think it really worked comedically. I like that scene too. That's just two I'm thinking of, but there wasn't like a ton of comedy in this movie, but when it was there, it worked.
Yeah, this was quite an interesting movie.
It's definitely nothing unlike anything I've seen before.
2 hours.
Yeah. Didn't feel like 2 hours to me.
Well, that's good. This was actually a very topical movie choice for you. I don't know if you know this, but there's an interview with the vampire TV series that came out at the beginning of this month on AMC.
Okay. I remember I was telling my friend about, I was like, oh, yesterday I watched Interview with a Vampire, and they're like, the TV show? I'm like, there's a TV show? So I learned about that yesterday.
The movie, it only hints at erotic homosexuality. It's
Right.
kind of a big theme.
Yes,
for
it is
94.
fairly homoerotic.
But the TV
Notice
show
that.
digs deep into it. Apparently, it's
Oh, it sort of like embraces that.
yeah.
Yeah, this movie was like, I think it was definitely unintentionally homoerotic, but it definitely was, though.
I think it was intentional.
Oh, okay.
Anne Rice. I read somewhere that Anne Rice didn't think this movie would be made, so she wanted to change Brad Pitt's character
To a female or something?
to a female and have Cher play it.
Oh,
That would have been a whole different movie.
that would have been much different. Replace Tom Cruise with Cher. Now you're talking.
Replace Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt with Cher.
Sure, could do that too. I think generally this film was written pretty well, but the problem was definitely the acting in terms of delivery of those lines. I found
crazy.
a lot of the films that of late that perhaps we didn't like, it was like bad writing, and we tended to be like, oh, they're a good actor, and maybe the problem came from the writing, or in some cases it was clear that the writing was a problem. But I think here that the writing was pretty good, but then the acting perhaps not.
This is an all-star cast.
It definitely was. This is like one of the first time in a while I've definitely noticed good writing. I thought that was well done.
You're getting more mature.
I guess so.
Okay. Well, any other notes you have written down? You wanna indulge? Or
The last note.
on?
Two things. One thing I have noticed is every vampire movie has like different rules about what kills vampires. Like the vampire rules. It's just something I've noticed. Sometimes like garlic works, sometimes garlic doesn't work. The crucifix, sometimes they have reflections, sometimes they don't. Like in this film, I think all the vampires had a reflection, unless I was not noticing that correctly.
I can't remember. Brad Pitt did make a comment about garlic. Like there was like
Yes.
some stories out there.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember what exactly he says, but he just bring it up. I don't know. It's like,
But there's like, I feel like this is the first time I ever heard like vampires shouldn't suck the blood of dead bodies. So I never heard of that before, but I'm sure
makes you
that's
sick.
Yeah, apparently. But that's just something I noticed. And the other thing was my favorite scene was probably like when Brad Pitt burns down that like Antonio Banderas' like lair.
Oh yeah, he likes fire.
Yeah. That scene was cool, and all the vampires like popping out of their coffins, and he was like slicing them up. That scene was cool.
My favorite scene was when the guy was walking on the wall for some reason, dancing on the wall.
That part was funny too. I don't know. I think from what I'm hearing, is I got myself in the headspace pretty quick that this was to have fun with this movie. And I think maybe you didn't get there.
It didn't seem like that kind of movie to me.
Right. That's fair. I don't know. It's crazy how you can be so influenced by just the headspace before you get into a film.
Totally. Is that your last note, or do you have something else?
Oh, I'm sorry to keep you. Yeah, that's my last note. I'll get on with it.
Okay, well let's get the scores out of the way, the most important part of the movie.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a Jesse scores higher kind of movie.
It sounds that way. Sounds that way.
Okay, I'll start with acting.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a lot about it, but it was an all-star cast, even for 1994. Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Kirsten Dunst, Antonio Banderas, Christian Slater briefly. Christian Slater, that whole thing. Yeah. However, the performances were very over the top, I felt. You liked it. You got silly out of it. Mm-hmm. I thought this movie was more serious than that. Probably an artistic choice, but it was difficult to see past for me. Kirsten Dunst, talked about, I liked her performance the best. Mm-hmm. This is the second best movie about two or more dudes trying to raise a child since the 1987 classic 3 Men and a Baby. You ever seen 3 Men and a Baby?
I have not.
It's the first thing I thought of when there's two guys raising a mini person.
A mini person, yeah.
Great movie. I give acting 4.5 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, for me, the acting was shaky, for sure. Kirsten Dunst, I thought, had a nice performance. Brad Pitt, I liked more than what your experience was. But yeah, I mean, not perfect, but I think he played the role of vampire well. Tom Cruise, I did not like his performance at all. He was just Tom Cruise. My score is a little better than yours, but it's not a whole lot better. The acting was noticeable, and not always in a good way. So my score for that was a 5.5.
Wow. How did you feel about the ending?
The ending was also perhaps a little, I don't know, I wasn't crazy about the ending. It felt out of place. Like, I suspected with this format of like being interviewed by Christian Slater that, of course, we're going to get to present day and then the ending is going to somehow involve Christian Slater. And that's exactly how it happened. He ran away and Lestat showed up or whatever. A little underwhelming. I wasn't crazy about how it all wrapped up. So I gave that a 5.
Okay. Good. Okay, this is going a little different than I thought it was going to. The movie itself seemed to go on forever. You mentioned that you thought it would 2 hours, like that's nothing. Mm-hmm. But for me, a bit long. It was just like a thing after a thing after a thing after a thing, as movies are. So right. I didn't really know when. I didn't know the path to an ending until I guess Brad Pitt said it was 1988 and I'm back in New Orleans. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is the beginning of the ending. Mm-hmm. Points were gained because the movie itself wasn't predictable, but the ending was also not predictable. Right. But points were lost when a crazy Tom Cruise appeared out of nowhere and knew how to drive a car, even though he had been stuck in that abandoned mansion and surviving on rat
That's a good point.
For God knows how long. That's kind of what pulled me out of the movie. That was too unbelievable. Like, there's no way he would know how to drive a car.
He's got that driver's intuition. He just, grabbed the wheel and he just knew. That's his vampire power.
Yeah, like it's difficult enough to start driving a car when it's like going already, not swerving and stuff. But
Yeah.
he did it, and that was the end of the movie.
Success.
Selfish Christian Slater. Oh, 5.5 out of 10.
Okay. Look at that. We're in agreement.
Kind of.
What do you mean kind of?
Okay.
I said that's the exact same number I gave.
Your ending was a 5, wasn't it?
No, I said 5.5.
Your acting was 5.5. Are you telling me you're going acting and ending both 5.5?
Did I not say it? Oh, you're right. It
Pretty
was
sure
5.
you said ending 5. Look,
Okay.
I'm not trying to start anything here. I'll go first for score because I think my score is going to be lower than your score. But
Okay, sure.
now I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Okay. The movie wasn't great, but it also wasn't that bad. It was a mediocre, average movie, in my opinion, but just sad because it had so much potential. Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, blood-sucking vampires, that's something that you'll never see again,
Right.
which makes it so sad.
So sad.
That movie was kind of all over the place. But like I said, it was fairly universally loved. So what do I know? I gave it a 5.1 out of 10.
You got all these kooky scores lately.
It's Halloween week.
Oh, right. The week of kooky. That's what they say. Okay. Well, my score is higher than yours, but not a whole lot higher, really. Yeah, I just kind of had fun with the movie, and there was some cool gore parts, and I thought it was kind of over the top, but in the right ways. Tom Cruise is a problem. The acting was a bit shaky, but it had its highlights. And it was also very unique, I thought. I'm not going to forget this movie, that's for sure. My overall score was a 6.5.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, I didn't love it, but it was fun. Better than Dude, Where's My Car?
You didn't love it, but it was fun.
Yep.
Yeah, Dude, Where's My Car? Good times. That'll be when we hit the end of the year and we do our best and worst movies. I have a feeling that's going to be on a list.
Something would have to go terribly wrong with one of the another film to take the spot of worst.
Okay, well, that was Interview with the Vampire, 1994. Yeah, it was a good choice. Iconic movie that you got to see at least once, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta.
Okay, well, I'm going to read off some fun trivia from this movie. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah. Hit me with
all the actors playing vampires. There's 3 or 4. Well, I guess more than that. But they were required to hang upside down for up to 30 minutes at a time during makeup. This would force all the blood in their bodies to rush to their heads, causing the blood vessels in their face to bulge. The makeup artists would then trace over the swollen veins, creating the eerie, translucent skin look. Unfortunately for the actors, they would have to repeat the process several times over, as the blood would quickly drain from their heads. Anne Rice was so pleased with this adaptation that she took out a 2-page ad in both Vanity Fair and the New York Times, endorsing it as a masterpiece.
A masterpiece, huh?
It's still the highest grossing R-rated vampire film of all time.
Oh.
Brad Pitt revealed that he had a miserable experience while making the film. He recalled the discomfort of the makeup, color contacts, and particularly filming in an enclosed, dark indoor area. Kirsten Dunst wasn't allowed to watch the film when it was released because her parents thought it was too scary for her. She has her first on-screen kiss in the film with Brad Pitt, even though there's an 18-year age difference between them. She revealed the scene had made her feel uncomfortable, saying she thought it was gross that Brad Pitt had cooties.
Oh.
Tom Cruise was placed on an elevated platform during some scenes to reduce the height difference between his character and other vampires. Tom Cruise, known as a short Short man.
He is a short man. Yes.
In the book, the reason why Louis becomes depressed, Louis becomes depressed in the beginning of the movie is because he feels guilty about the death of his brother, not because he had a wife and child that died, as in the movie. He never had a wife in the book version.
Oh.
Anne Rice met with Tom Hanks to take the part of Lestat after seeing his performance in Philadelphia, but he turned it down in order to star in Forrest Gump.
It's a pretty big movie.
Daniel Day-Lewis was eventually given the part of Lestat, but dropped out weeks before filming. Tom Cruise eventually got the role after Johnny Depp turned it down.
Wow, they really did get a lot of people in the conversation for this one.
Tom Cruise prepped for the role of Lestat by watching videos of lions attacking zebras in the wild.
Okay.
During filming, tensions developed between Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt over the latter's poor personal hygiene. According to Cruise, his co-star didn't use any deodorant, and the resulting body odor became noticeable.
Ooh.
And the last, I think there's a lot more, but the last one I'll read is kind of a sad one. This film was the subject of controversy due to inspiring a real-life crime shortly after the film's theatrical release. On November the 17th, 1994, a man named Daniel Sterling and his girlfriend watched the film together. The next day, Sterling stabbed her 7 times in her chest and back and sucked the blood from her wounds.
Oh, Jesus.
Fortunately, she survived, and he was arrested.
Oh, that's good.
He first convicted him of first-degree murder, so he's probably still doing that somewhere.
I'm sure he is.
Okay, the last one I'll say is Jeremy Irons turned down the role of Lestat as he didn't want to play another character that required hours of makeup. He was in another movie.
At one point, when Antonio Banderas first showed up and his sidekick, I think his name was Santiago or something. When I first saw him for the first 5 seconds, I was like, "Is that Jeremy Irons?" But it wasn't.
Just some other
dude.
British dude. Antonio Banderas previously auditioned for the role of Dracula in the movie Dracula.
Well, he had to get his one vampire role in.
Yeah. Okay. That is now officially Interview with the Vampire. We'll exit out of those. So Halloween week, Halloween themed, will continue to next week as well, because the movie that I'm going to choose is a movie that I actually haven't chosen yet, but it will be Halloween related. I did want to get your opinion before I chose.
Okay.
So I Googled classic Halloween movies, and there's a list.
Sure there is.
But I'm not sure which ones you've seen. So I kind of want to throw that to you. Mean Girls is on this list, though. So.
Oh, my favorite Halloween movie.
Have you seen The Exorcist?
I've seen most of it.
Okay. What about The Blair Witch Project?
Yes, I've seen that movie. That movie's awesome.
Okay. Well, those are my 2 options. Have you seen Nightmare Before Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you seen Hocus Pocus?
No.
Okay, I don't want to do that one.
Okay.
I've seen it, but there's Hocus Pocus 2 that just came out, so just kind of didn't really want to do that one. What about the original Halloween movie?
Mm-hmm. I've seen it.
Okay. A lot of good movies on this list. A lot of interesting movies. What about Scream?
Yeah, I watched that pretty recently, actually. Not that recently.
So you're saying I shouldn't do a Halloween movie?
I haven't seen every Halloween movie.
Well, let's just see maybe like a modern Halloween movie on my list.
Okay. The listeners are riveted right now.
Huh. Okay, well, what about? I mean, a lot of these movies we've seen on the podcast.
Yep.
It's very Halloweeny type type podcast, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Seems to be the genre that we've watched the most, I would say.
Have you seen Children of the Corn?
I have not seen Children of the Corn. I know that Terminator lady is in it, though. Right?
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
Don't know anything about it. I know you've seen The Thing.
Oh, yeah. That's a good movie.
Okay. Well, maybe. Well, now I have to do a Halloween movie because
This bit has gone on so long that people are just, this is what they expect now at this point. I'm sure you'll think of something.
I'm sure I'll think of something. Well, now I need an answer. CountryLiving.com has 53 best Halloween movies of all time that you can stream at home. Young Frankenstein is first.
Saying that, yeah.
Have you seen the movie Arachnophobia?
No.
It stars Jeff Daniels and John Goodman.
Oh.
For some, there's nothing scarier than a spider. If that's you, then this 1990 movie will scare you silly.
I like to get scared silly.
Have you seen Rosemary's Baby? 1968.
No.
Do you know about it? Do you know anything about it? Is that?
It's got Meryl Streep in it.
Do you mean Mia Farrow?
Yeah, that one. I was thinking of Sophie's Choice.
Twilight comes in at 8th on the list.
I've been meaning to watch those. I know they're terrible, but I want to watch them.
You want to watch Twilight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is what we're going to do.
Okay, what are we going to do?
We're going to watch the first Twilight movie.
Okay. Have you seen the first Twilight movie?
I can't say I have seen the Twilight movie. It's been on, like, there's 3 of them, I think. It's been on at some point in various stages of my life. I've seen clips, bits and pieces as people tend to watch them around me.
Right.
But I haven't, like, sat down and watched the movie.
Well, now's our time.
All right, no, that's good. We'll have stuff to talk about, I think.
I think you're right. Yes.
Okay, so we're at a good time. We're at a good point. The last segment for this Halloween themed episode. Twilight is a Halloween movie, but it won't be a Halloween themed episode next week because we're kind of already sick of it. Plus, it'll come out like mid-November, so that's not really Halloween anymore. That's more like Christmas, which is why I kind of should have done Nightmare Before Christmas, because it's like the transition between the 2 holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a list of Halloween trivia questions. The answer is not revealed to me right away, so I can also participate.
Great.
We're going to do 10 Halloween themed questions. Does that seem good to you?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Halloween movie questions or just Halloween?
No, just Halloween questions.
Okay.
Maybe some movie ones. I don't know. I haven't really picked any of the questions. I just have a list here. Question number 1, though. In what country did Halloween originate? What country did Halloween originate?
Sounds like a Western Europe sort of thing. If I were to guess, I'd say probably, I want to say Germany.
I was in England, Halloween 2010, and nobody dressed up. So I'm going to say the United States of America.
Okay.
The answer is Ireland.
Oh,
So,
you were close.
no, I wasn't. You were close.
Oh, sorry. I meant you were close when you said that when you were in England,
But nobody.
and nobody did it. But I was like, you were close to the country that did. That probably would have.
Out of which vegetable were jack-o'-lanterns originally made?
Radishes.
You were close. It's turnips. I accidentally clicked on it before I can answer. Turnips.
Close.
Question number 3. From which region in the world do pumpkins originate? Pumpkins.
Oh, what region of the world? Gosh.
Yeah.
Europe.
I'm going to say Minnesota, just from that.
My favorite world region.
But my second guess is Italy, because those
Okay.
are the two best. And the correct answer is Central America.
Central America. Okay.
Question 4. Is a pumpkin a fruit or a vegetable?
It's a fruit.
I'm going to say a vegetable just to be different, and it's a fruit.
Yes.
According to superstition, question 5, a person born on Halloween has what particular ability?
Oh, well, they have the ability to burn calories quicker.
They have the ability to walk under ladders and have nothing bad happen to them. The correct answer is the ability to see and talk to spirits.
Right. Should have known.
Question 6. Which vampire said, "Don't be afraid, I'm going to give you the choice I never had"?
Lestat.
I'm going to say, Lestat.
That was the real question, or you just made that
That was the real question. No, that was a legit question.
up? Oh, well, that's timely.
Very timely, yeah. So this is kind of movie related sometimes.
Yeah, apparently.
In 2004, question 7, the city of Hollywood banned the use of what party item on Halloween?
Fireworks.
I'm going to say firecrackers. Silly string. Silly string is the correct answer.
Oh, yeah, that was unexpected.
Question number 8. Question number 8. It's illegal to dress like a nun or priest for Halloween in what U.S. state?
Probably Massachusetts. That one.
Why do you say that? Because like The Exorcist?
I don't know, like I don't know. That's just my guess.
I'm going to say Utah, because they're pretty backwards down there. Hopefully we have no Utah listeners. Alabama. Impersonating the clergy is a misdemeanor with a fine up to $500 up to a year in jail.
That's a long time.
Question 9. What was the original name for what we now call candy corn?
Oh, good old vampire teeth.
Good old. This is gross. Don't eat it. Chicken feed. It's called
Chicken feed. Of course.
Feed, as in the D at the end.
Yeah, feed. Yeah, that's what I said.
They said feet.
Yeah, chicken feet. No, I heard you.
And then the last question. What costume does Lindsay Lohan's character wear to the Halloween party in the movie Mean Girls?
Oh, I have no idea. Lady Frankenstein.
Never seen the movie, so I can't answer. She's a bride of Frankenstein, which stands in contrast to the sexy costumes worn by her peers.
Okay.
And then a bonus question.
How that happened. Okay, yep.
Bonus question for you.
I love it.
What was the first movie to show a toilet on screen?
What was the first movie to show a toilet on screen? This is a Halloween related question.
It's got to be a Halloween movie, I would assume.
Okay. Well, Boy, oh boy. That is a strange question, my friend. The first movie to show Nosferatu.
I'm going to say Interview with a Vampire, 1994.
Okay.
The horror classic Psycho, 1960. And that is your Halloween trivia question segment of the year. We won't do that again.
Year. Well, I love it.
And we've reached, we're really good at getting to like the 50-minute mark just around here, and we're trying to
That does seem to be our...
down.
Yeah.
And then it takes us like 2 minutes to hang up, but
yeah.
what a fun movie.
Around there. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for picking it. Interview with a
You're
Vampire.
welcome.
It's gonna be. I'm excited. I have two more Robert Pattinson movies on my list to watch, but this one, Twilight for episode 34, comes first.
I've seen The Lighthouse, by the way.
The Lighthouse is not on my list because you've seen it. It's two other ones.
Okay. Just thought I'd mention that.
I still have to see that movie.
It's a good movie. Recommend it.
Tomorrow, this movie I could have picked for the podcast, but a movie called Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching tomorrow with the guy from It. Exactly. Could be pretty good.
The guy from It? You mean Tim Curry, or is this like a more
no,
recent
like the
film?
new It.
Oh, like the film that's like it's. Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
It's the new movie, the new Pennywise.
I got you.
So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow, and then I have a Halloween party on Saturday. It's a couple's costume.
Ooh, what is it?
She's going as a dog. I'm going as a mailman.
Oh,
that's how you save money.
That's great. Yeah, you have the whole what you need already. That's great.
Exactly. And then Halloween's over. We've already finished all of our Halloween candy, which is sad, but I'm ready for it to be over.
We haven't had a single piece of Halloween candy. I think we'll hit the store, to get the discount Halloween candy. That might be the play.
Tuesday, November 1st. Make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well,
that's it for me on this side. I'm going to stop talking now, so it's up to you.
Oh, it's up to me to finish the podcast. Well, we just appreciate everyone who listens. Give us 5 stars on Spotify if you haven't done that already. Or rate us however you like. But 5 stars, just, you could do that. It's up to you, but whatever. I hope you look forward to our episode on Twilight next week. We're definitely looking forward to it. And we hope you have a safe and fun Halloween. I'm Jesse.
I'm back.
Oh, he's back.
You still talking?
I was just about to wrap up. I was saying my name's Jesse and your name is Josh. And that's the podcast. Thanks for listening.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.